You're listening to Late Night Radio on the SHR Media Network. Caution, there will be mature themes explored and potentially adult language used. If conservatarian words, phrases, certain concepts, or rhetoric offends you, tune out now.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
I'm pushing them back from the saloon to the airwaves. I'm spitting it raw. Constitution's my compass, liberty's law. Big gulfs creeping, shadows on the land. Feds with the schemes trying to bind up my hands. But I'm the Sherpa, guiding through the storm. Red, white, and blue, yeah, freedom's reborn. They spin their tails, but I see through the haze. Media maggots, lost in the maze. I'm calling it out, no fear in my soul. This patriot's fire ain't losing control. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas rising. Freedom's calling. Let this judge is twisted, trying to steal our rights, but I'm locked and loaded, got them in my sights. From J6 to the border, they're selling us out. I'm screaming from the mountain, hear my rebel shout. They mock the flag, but I'm holding it high. Stars and stripes forever under God's open sky. No globalist chains gonna cage this land. I'm the Sherpa with the truth in my hand. They push their agenda, but I'm breaking the mold. Their promises empty, their hearts ice cold. Chicago's bleeding, borders torn apart. I'm fighting for the people with the warrior's heart. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas rising. I've walked the line, 41 years, badge on the grind, now I'm on the air. My voice like a blade, cutting through the lies that the traitors made. Hurricanes rage, but we're standing tall. Sheriffs of the Constitution answering the call. From the saloon to the heart of the fray, we're taking back America, no more delay. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas rising. Static, hear my voice resound. Conservative Sherpa, freedom's battleground. Berserk, Bobcat, rules will never kneel. For God and country, this fight is real.
So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, where I am broadcasting from North Idaho in an actual free state. Now, I happen to be right here, your conservative Sherpa. And you can read along with me if you will. I'm guiding you through the insidious maelstrom of Demorat, leftist, and globalist lies, chaos, deceit, tyranny, and betrayal. That's me, none other than that right there. Please note what you're about to hear for the next, I don't know, hour and a half, 2 hours until I run out of material. Consists of my opinion and my opinion only. I'm sorry, I'm such a sad sack. I have no guests tonight. I am doing the job that the American media maggots fundamentally won't and refuse to do. I am changing America one, count them, one leftist diaper at a time. However, I must mention in passing that we don't water our drinks, just like we don't water our conversations. We are still serving stiff drinks right here in the saloon, along with facts, history, logic, rationality, proportion, tradition, clarity, and common sense for normal people. And perhaps some people say BZ because that's my name. What do you talk about here at the saloon? Well, that would be something similar to politics, religion, crime, culture, race, economics, science, law. We do, in fact, talk about all of it right here in the saloon where the speech is free, but the booze is not. Now, tonight is rather astounding. By the way, I should tell you, this is our plush, sumptuous, palatial, and resplendent chat room, and you can jump into it. Well, BC, where might that be located? Isn't it odd? I'm about to tell you, and it happens to be located at the SHR Media YouTube channel. But let's see if I can do this. Can I do this? Can I? May I? Something astounding has happened here at SHR Media. And I want to tell you this. We have hit a benchmark. And I want to thank each and every one of you for taking us now to 600 subscribers. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're bracing yourself for a truly momentous occasion. The SHR Media Network, your unapologetic beacon of truth through myself and Sean and Earl and Jersey Joe, and occasionally the Lost Wanderer, proving, of course, that not all who wander are lost. We soared. We have soared and flown. My heart has soared like an eagle to an electrifying milestone, 600 subscribers right here on our YouTube channel. Now, this isn't just a number. Oh, no. This is not just a number. It happens to be a testament to the growing number of people who are listening right here to SHR. On SHR and also on KLRN. And it's for people who essentially are refusing to settle for mainstream blah, 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 blah. And for those who just tuned in, blah, blah, blah. From the studio right here to the airwaves crackling with life. I stole that from Rush. SHR Media delivers bold, hard-hitting nonsense content that sparks conversation and challenges the status quo. And I hope that's why you're listening. And I hope that's why you're here tonight. Thanks for joining our revolution. Here's to us continuing to kind of sort of shake things up, speaking truth to everybody, not just to power, but to anybody and everybody who will listen, and charging to the next milestone together. And stay tuned. We're going to do it together because guess what? We're setting that milestone and we're saying something similar to, hey, shouldn't we set our goal, set our little gazicks, our face on 650 subscribers? My guess is that you're going to think, yeah, that's not bad. That's doable. If we did that, why can't we do more? And thanks to everybody who's watching, and to people who are in the chat room, and to the people who listen later on in podcast. This is important because this is what's coming. Fear not, ladles and gentle Ben.
Folks, we're in Chelsea, right by the iconic FIT, Fashion Institute of Technology. FIT is now a stylish magicians. Here we are in vibrant Greenwich Village, right outside the legendary New York University. NYU is still thriving strong.
Now we're in the East Village at the historic Cooper Union for the advancement of science and art. Cooper Union remains innovative
Let's go, folks. We've just made it to Union Square, standing in front of Parsons School of Design. All right.
Don't think that with Mamdani on your trail, you're not going to find a little bit of that, or perhaps a lot of that. I like to kind of start out with some amusing stuff at the beginning of the show. Here's something else. You know, it's like, how do you compare the two? Go ahead. How?
If anyone from American Eagle who was involved in the creation of Sydney Sweeney's most recent advertisement booked into my Pilates class, I would give them the hardest exercise class that I was capable of doing on the lightest possible spring load with 0 breath cues.
Oh, no.
And I would make it the toughest exercise class that they'd ever experienced in their lives.
I think I'm discerning just a slight difference between Sydney Sweeney on the left and whoever the hell that is on the right. It's like that chick happened to fall from the ugly tree and hit every damn branch on the way down and then smashed against a piece of granite face down. Sad. Very sad. And Mission Ready Men is here. Mike Pasqua is here. SHR Media is here. Go away. I'm not talking about you. So thanks to everyone for being present and accounted for. What I said is that at the beginning, I've been trying to think about something to call sort of the beginning of my show, where I don't go right into the meat and the gristle of what we're going to talk about tonight, but I bring kind of stupid crap to you at the beginning. And I was thinking that, you know, maybe I might call it the carousel of amusing GURP. I'm not sure that I know exactly what to call it, except this is This is where we are in the United States of America right now. This is from, now remember when Cosmopolitan apparently was a magazine for chicks who wanted to be stylish? Well, evidently, this is astoundingly childish, Freudian, stylish from Cosmo. This rainbow armpit hair look is perfect in its pride. Wouldn't you say, my God? Where have we gone? United States of America. And again, thanks to everybody, 600 subscribers. I can't help but go, that's just incredible. But while I happen to be on this topic, let me take that unit off the stage just for a second. This is running around in meme land right now. Okay, so this is, if you're not familiar, this is the odd-oid unit who is in the show with Pedro Pascal called The Last of Us. And it's, I know, I watch it. It's weird. The only good thing is that Pedro Pascal got killed at the end of the, I don't know, second season or something like that, or the beginning of the second season. And so on media, on social media, I'm seeing this. Bella Ramsey, that's the chick on The Last of Us, says they. Now, she is a they. She wants you to know that she is a they. They could be the next Spider-Man. I don't fucking think so. Then there's this. The NFL's first tranny cheerleader, Justine Simone of the Carolina Panther Topcats, has returned for his third season. How do you process that kind of stuff? Well, I'm bringing it here for you to see, to process. Now, the theme of the show tonight is Demorats are smarter than you are. And of course, evidently, I'm assuming that would include the American media maggots, right? Because here's what Fox 8 said about this particular suspect, who's black, armed and dangerous, bald with a full beard, but he has dark white skin. It falls into the category of, fuck me, you can't write this. And of course, when you need a paper towel, you need a paper towel, right?
I haven't taken a bath in months. I just can't imagine sitting in my own human
I haven't taken a bath in months. Because certainly, I'm sure every male around, especially a leftist soy boy with a little boy bun in the back, would love to copulate with this unit. Right?
These are scrubs. They are bath sponges. These are infused with soap and shampoo. You get them damp. They get soapy. That's all I did. And then you wash. These are amazing for camping, for elder care. They're sponge baths. They're like for everything. We have a bunch of different flavors. They are very, very long lasting.
Okay. They come in a bunch of different flavors just in case you feel like eating them. You know, honest to God, folks, as I say, there is so much going on. It's like, where do you start? BZ, where do you start? Well, and this is my intent to show that, you know, I don't make any of this stuff up. You know, I used to think that maybe I would kind of sort of have to. Well, the last time I thought that was about at least 15 years ago, perhaps 20 years ago. All I do is just is popular to say now. All I do is I bring the receipts. I don't make anything up. I don't need to. I bring the articles and the videos that I find to you by way of the internet that purposely the American media maggots ignore. But the dealio is, you know, if I can find this crap, they can find this crap. But that indicates to me that they're not intending to do any of that. Now, for those of you, I get a lot of people who watch the show on Rumble, and I'm going to throw this in here again. I want to say thanks to the 600 subscribers we now have on the SHR Media YouTube channel, and that is where you can go. It's highly recommended that you go there to chat. There are other chat rooms. I don't have the temperament or the inclination to monitor all of the chat rooms. I just look at the one that's here, generally, primarily from YouTube, and I can see people that speak to me here in chat. And there are a bunch of folks here. Mike is here, and Mission Ready Men is here, and Whiskey Dale is here, and now the Vikings have 2 dude cheerleaders, right? It's like, you know, hashtag because why not? All who are waterboarded with water, it's not the same. And as I say, it's not waterboarding if you use diesel. Remember that. Important safety and salient tip. Because I get a lot of the people that watch from Rumble, I want to go back and re-emphasize a lot of the crap that is happening with DC, because kind of roll with me on this. I'm heading towards a particular point. But when you get somebody like Geraldo Rivera saying this,
DC has been, with all due respect to our nation's capital, a shithole for a long time.
He said that.
You know, it reminds me of the old LaGuardia Airport that became so ghettoized and so grim and dark and melancholy that you get used to it. Remember, these are citizen soldiers, the guard.
Melancholy. That's Geraldo Rivera thinking melancholy. Now, look at this. This is Morning Joe excoriating crime in D.C. And what I want to bring to your attention, because we'll speak about this in just a moment or two. Look at this right here. This happens to be on MSNBC. Go.
The answer to this problem for Democrats is not
Oh, everything's okay. There's nothing to see here. Move along, move along. Oh, Washington has dropped 24% or whatever in crime. Well, let me give you some other numbers. The Washington Post took a poll in late April, early May. 91% of Washington residents say crime is a problem. 91%.
How does that happen? Well, I'll tell you, I'll let you in on a little secret. This is what happened. MSNBC got hoovered up by another company. And I've never heard of this company before, called Versant. They've decided they're going to rename MSNBC and drop the peacock logos from Comcast in that separation, because this company doesn't want to be associated with NBC any damn more. Well, look at this. This is what it's called. MSNBC. It's going to be changing its name to MS now. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. I don't give a fuck. When I first saw that, my thought was, oh, multiple sclerosis now. Because who wouldn't want to name a network after MS? You know, who thinks of this stuff? Why, of all the places that you've been and all the names that you could potentially have chosen, would you go out of your way to do that? Well, let's continue with DC.
But did you know that a Washington, D.C. police commander was just suspended for allegedly making changes to the crime numbers in Washington, D.C.? And did you know that according to the Media Research Center, in a study they did this week, CNN and MSNBC cited those fake numbers 73 times over a 24-hour period?
Let me repeat that. CNN and MSNBC, soon to have their name changed and disassociated with NBC, have referred to crappy and false statistics 73 times over the last 24 hours. What the hell?
Meaning millions of people were told a lie for an entire day about the crime in Washington, and they were told that it's not that bad.
So hold that thought, folks, because we're going to continue, and I'm leading up to something which kind of sort of happens to fall into the happy story category. And don't think that I don't have happy stories, because I do, in fact, have happy stories. But we're going to take a little bit of a journey to get there.
Yeah, I think that Democrats have to get it around their heads that Americans are far more hawkish on crime than they think that they are. What are we talking about? Trump's net approval handling crime. Where was he last year? He was way underwater at minus 13 points views of term number one. But look at where he is now. He's on the positive side of the ledger. He's on the positive side at plus 1 point. Americans view Trump far more favorably now on crime than they did a year ago.
And, well, that happens to be the truth. Because crime, as I've said any number of times, crime is personal. It's an invasion of you. It's an invasion of your home. It's an invasion of work. It's simply a damn invasion. Let's continue. They referred to or referenced, Finnegan, I believe, referenced a DC police commander in Washington Metro, suspended, accused of changing crime statistics. Well, it shouldn't shock any one of you that in the Northeast this has been, and let me make a very important point. Anytime that you're talking about CompStat, which was something that was very popular in the Northeast, Baltimore, DC, etc. Anytime you're talking about CompStat, you're talking about cheating and you're talking about fraudulent statistics. That happens to just be true. As I mentioned before, the TV series on HBO, The Wire, referenced it back in 2002. That's how continuously well known it was. And also, the DC Police Union supports the Trump takeover. No one supports the Trump takeover. No one wants a Spanish Inquisition. Of course not. But then there's this as well from Mediaite, a place with the most god-awful, stupid name in quite some time. What do I have here? I got about 5 minutes before the bottom of the hour break. No, DC is not safer than ever. Police union alleges preposterous crime stats are being cooked. And that's true. The books have been cooked and are being cooked and have been so for quite some time. But let's go with Trace Gallagher. What do you have to say, sir?
MSNBC was fact-checking President Trump in real time without using real evidence. Every time Trump would put up a crime stat for Washington, D.C., MSNBC would knock it down. It's the old fact-check, reject, where you simply say not true, not true. But as MSNBC was saying that D.C. crime was down, they forgot to put up juvenile crime stats.
Okay, did you hear what they just did? Do you understand why MSNBC and all the rest of the American media maggots should never be trusted? Unless you happen to know already by various other means and fashions that you verify what it is that they throw up or make in terms of being vomitous all over the social media and news scene. They pulled juvenile crime out of the statistics, and in DC, it's juvenile crime that happens to be the worst. If you listen to Ralph Chittum's on my show from last week, he said that's been true for 10 years. Juveniles are, for a matter of fact, some of the people who murdered Ken McClinton's stepdaughter, Charnice Milton, a journalist, back in 2015, if I'm not mistaken. Still, the crime unsolved.
As if underage crime doesn't count. Because a DC father whose child was murdered by a juvenile thinks the crime against his family is very real. And he believes crime needs to be addressed, not dismissed. And as common sense would point out, even if adult crime in DC is down, it's still 200% higher than the national average. It's gone from insanely high to extremely high.
So let's stop right there. There happen to be some statistics, as a matter of fact. And let me go over these, if I may. As I said, I think I wrote this last week, and I mentioned on my previous show. Let's have some facts about DC. The homicide rate in DC is 6 times higher than New York City. Let's do a comp about the populations. DC has a population of 702,000. New York City has a population of 8.4 million. Contrast and compare. The homicide numbers are 18 times higher in DC than Havana, Cuba. Oh, that just happens to be a communist haven. DC carjackings are up 547% from 2018 to 2023. 90+% of DC carjackings are committed by juveniles with an average age of 15. And the DC Metro Police has already been caught skewing any number of crime stats to bring that stuff down. The other thing that the DC police do is when they report and record a crime. So they would report a crime truly involving a gun or a knife as a felony assault because the FBI Uniform Crime Code system doesn't record felony assaults. And so you want to make sure that the people who are in DC and subject to crime, they don't have any idea about what's going on. And then they wonder to themselves, it's gaslighting. Again, I did an entire 2-hour show on gaslighting. But you're being gaslit. No, all that crime that you're seeing around yourself in DC, that's not happening. That's not true. How can you possibly say that or think that? What the hell is wrong with you, folks?
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Mission log entry. I mean, let's face it, who's even counting anymore? The Lost Wanderer is officially off course, chasing rogue rocket launches, fringe science, and things that probably violate causality. If it burns fuel, bends time, or makes scientists very uncomfortable, yeah, I'm probably going to talk about it. Every other Sunday on KLRN Radio, The Lost Wanderer, because space doesn't come with a roadmap, and honestly, I wouldn't follow if it did.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here's Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
Hey fellas, are you mission ready? You need to check out Mission Ready Men via Earl Big E Jackson on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and noon Eastern. It's a show that equips you to navigate our society's challenges from a biblical perspective with courage and conviction. Tune into Mission Ready Men as we examine our culture through the prism of biblical truths, teachings, and how to apply them in our daily lives. Prepare to step up, stand out, and step into your role as a man as ordained by God. That's Mission Ready Men, hosted by Earl Jackson on the SHR Media Network. And get mission ready.
Want to make an immediate difference in the life of a critically ill child? You have the ability to do that right now. Make a donation to Dream Makers for Life, the organization that restores dreams to seriously ill children and their families. You can sponsor a dream pack for a child, which contains a clear PVC backpack, a dry erase board adventure coloring book, a journal, and dry erase markers to inspire a critically ill child to envision a future adventure and hope. Want to become a dream maker for life yourself? Go to dreamforlife.org. That's dreamforlife.org. Help a child. Help a family. There is always hope.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
I'm BZ and welcome back. Thanks for watching the show tonight. I'm live and direct on Rumble and X and SHRmedia.com, the SHR Media YouTube channel, the stentorious and euphonious KLRN, our plush, sumptuous, and palatial and resplendent, and perhaps some other words that I forgot. Our chat room, let's just say, is open right now. And where you go for that is the SHR Media Network. And on YouTube, I should say. Let's halt this banner just for a second, and let's continue with DC. Because here's a story I bet you didn't hear. Hey, look, a DC police sergeant won a lawsuit against the police department. Who cares? Big deal. A DC police sergeant exposed her superiors for misclassifying crimes to make stats look low. The city settled the lawsuit, but no one really is reporting it except for these folks, the Washington Free Beacon. You know, smoke, fire. Are you following this? DC and all the other people. It's pretty astounding. Let us continue with this. And this truly is where I'm going right now, because it's been leading to this. Channel 4 in Washington, which happens to be NBC, said Justice Department to investigate whether the DC police manipulated crime data. Well, I suppose I could have put that in the happy story category, but I have lots of happy stories to get to in just a moment. So essentially, they're cooking the books. Apparently, yes, there is book cooking, and there has been book cooking for quite some time. And it's not chicken or beef or pork. It's books. Wait a minute. Cosmic Bard. Sean says hello. Okay. And how do you know that Sean says hello? This makes me wonder. Also, I want to remind everybody of this. Everybody was kung fu saying, do, 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 do. Everybody seems to forget that Obama rolled troops into Baltimore in 2015, but that was okay. That was fine because it's a black president and everyone loves Obama. He's the first fill in the blank for in the history of the United States of America. And then after him, it was Hillary Clinton, right? Because Hillary, she was supposed to get it. She knew she was supposed to get what? It wasn't Hillary. No, it wasn't. Well, the theme of the show tonight is something similar to Demorats are smarter than you are. So I picked up on this. And first, I cannot help but make a few displays here. This is Squirrel Stand Up on open mic night. And basically the squirrel, and this was a great line for the squirrel. I'm glad I captured the photograph when I did. But basically the squirrel here said Tom Homan's afterbirth could kick Gavin Newsom's ass. I have to say that's completely 100% true. And then in terms of, well, I can either go to more new. Yeah, let's go to Newsom here for a second. Be a good boy, little Gavin, and fix your state. And then Gavin got very, very angry. He's very angry. And you know, because he's Gavin and he gets angry because he wants to gerrymander. But what do we know about gerrymandering? Well, the people that fled Texas, those Demorats, they came back. But the truth is 36% Republican, 0 seats. In Connecticut, 42% Republican, 0 seats. Maine, 46% Republican, 0 seats. New Mexico, 46% Republican, 0 seats. New Hampshire, 48 Republican, 0 seats. That's almost 50%. Half Republican, 0 seats. Rhode Island, 42% Republican, 0 seats. Vermont, 32% Republican, 0 seats. Hawaii, 38% Republican. Delaware, 42% Republican, 0 seats. Now, apparently there were some concessions made. 38% in California Republicans, 9 of 52 seats are Republican. It says 20%, but that's actually 17%. Illinois, 44% of Republicans, 3 of 17 seats. New York, 43% Republican, 7 of 26 seats. Maryland, 34% Republican, 1 of 8 seats. New Jersey, 46%, 3 of 12 seats. Oregon, 41% Republican, 1 of 6 seats. So I guess my question would be something similar to, okay, you say that you're going to gerrymander the shit out of your blue state. Well, how do you do that when Republicans essentially have, well, 0 seats right now? But this is what Demorats are. Now, for the people that are listening to the show later on in podcast, in Spreaker, I'm going to read this. And these are all from leftists. And before I go there, I think you remember that, hey, this is good. You know, Justine Simone is good. This unit is good to be Spider-Man. So let's read a couple of these. Listen, by 8th grade, most of my peers were engaging in below-the-pants play. As an adult, I've known 6th and 7th graders who were using hairbrushes and ends of plungers as sex toys. Teach your kids about their bodies. Teach them safety. Teach them appropriate sex toys. There's another one. Only a pedophile wouldn't be against children exploring and learning about their bodies in a safe way. Another pedo. Not to mention that if kids don't get educated on their private parts, now who's going to do that? That's right, government schools, the public schools. And they're not going to tell you that they're doing this to your kids. The risk of them being molested or even potentially molesting other children increases so much. Oh, I absolutely made the post. I would rather kids be safe and use appropriate tools for their bodies than harm themselves by using miscellaneous items. I'm not against children exploring their bodies. You are. So, you're the pedo as far as they're concerned. Would that be correct? Well, since the show's about Demorats and they just told us what we need to know and what we need to do. And I just put a few of these up about Gavin Newsom. Well, Gavin, take care of your state, would you? Please take care of your state. Well, Gavin, let's go to how he's playing his social media right now. So what he did, because he can hold this media a little bit at arm's length, he has the Governor Newsom press office on X at Gov Press Office, official account for the press office of Governor Newsom. And so they have 393,000 followers. Now, let's go through this. I think you're going to see a theme here. Here's a guy that's on a podcast, and he is pro Newsom. And then the Beatles, I'm a loser. And then new ballroom coming along nicely. And then some other places where to follow. California's rules of professional conduct. Ding dong. See, this is how Newsom fights. He's just now. Come on, kids, give him a break. He's just learning. Old man yells at cloud. That's me. Okay, I get to be the old man yelling at clouds. And so Newsom unveils aggressive plan to clear homeless encampments across California. No more excuses. Well, if you remember, he was the one that decided to clear San Francisco for the Kamchink guy, Xi Jinping. That was important. Then he let it all fall to shit afterwards. Important. White House gets key facts wrong as it blames California for 3 traffic deaths in Florida. Let me pause here just for a moment, if I may. Newsom said that it was the federal government that was responsible for this. Well, the accident he's blaming on Trump and the White House and the facts that apparently he believes were wrong is this illegal invader from Delhi managed to get a commercial driver's license, got into an accident while making a U-turn on a divided highway in a freeway, and 3 people were killed because of his illegal U-turn in a commercial big rig. And if you watch the video, he doesn't seem to give one rattly little ass fuck. Because I don't think he knows what he's doing, and I'm not certain that he speaks English, but he is most definitely an illegal invader. Now, the funny thing is that the Trump administration turned him down. The Biden administration let him have the authority to come here and drive. And then there is no federal commercial driver's license. Trump rightly pointed out that the illegal invader from Delhi got his commercial DL from the state of California, always spell it with a K. So even in his social media, he can't help but lie. Now, let's listen here. Let's look at some of the things here. There are some commonalities. Look, it's the podcaster, the single solitary podcaster that he continues to quote. Same podcaster, same podcaster, same podcaster. Oh, this is clever. The joke goes over your head. Same podcaster, same podcaster, same podcaster, same podcaster. ad nauseum. This is what passes for, I guess, cleverosity in terms of Gavin Newsom. And I cannot help but put this up because I find the greatest videos and I bring them here just for you.
About the fact that we're affirming our independent commission and we're calling for a national independent commission as well. Well, I think it's pretty sick and pathetic. And it just said everything you need to know, the setting that we're under. That they chose the time, manner, and place to send their district director outside right when we're about to have this press conference.
Dude, you apparently are shocked and gobsmacked that they would do that. You know, it's like, hello, facts and evidence. I'm shocked, I tell you. Shocked. Bring in the usual suspects. It's faux everything. It's fake. It's false. It's so incredibly fake. So here comes the umbrage.
Everything you know about Donald Trump's America. And that was top down. You know that for a fact. And they'll deny it, I'm sure. Maybe they won't deny it. So everything you know about the authoritarian tendencies of the President of the United States. I said in a moment ago, wake up, America. Wake up. You will not have a country.
The authoritarian tendencies of Donald Trump. So just remember that when he runs in 2028, because this oily hair motherfucker is going to be running for president in 2028. Remember that taking illegal invaders out of the country is oppressive and mean. Well, if you don't like illegal invaders, or if you love illegal invaders, then change the laws. I've said that for a long time. You don't like the laws? Change them. Now, do you think that they believe that they can get that through Congress, the House, the Senate? They know damn well they can't. There's no way that they can. So they're going to display fake umbrage for this. This is a good one. Okay, here. The true Gavin Newsom. Maybe I should have played this at the beginning.
Well, I was trying to give a press conference and then I showed up and they arrested Panchito. And I was like, why are you taking Panchito away? And they were like, because he's illegal. And then Panchito yelled at me, please help me, senor, you promised. And I was like, I'm sorry, Panchito. I can't actually do anything. I just like acting tough and shit. So anyway, now I'm looking for a new gardener.
Imagine that. And then the other thing was, if you recall, Gavin Newsom, let's see if I have Gavin Newsom. Here he is. Gavin Newsom got upset because Donald sent him a Trump 2028 hat. Well, read into that what you will. And so these people are saying, it's, again, part and parcel of, oh, you can't write this shit. You absolutely can't write it. So this is political fodder. Trump or someone, likely not Trump, sent this guy a Trump 2028 hat. And that's the reference in the video right there. And so he truly believes Trump is going to run for 2028. Obama ran and essentially won for 2028 under Biden, because Obama, when Joe Vegetable was still semi-cogent, had his hand up Joe Biden's ass and was manipulating the mouth. So it was essentially a third term of Obama. And do you remember? Let's hearken back to this. When Obama in his bunker said something similar to, you know, if I could just be in my PJs, I'm paraphrasing, Senator. If I could just be somewhere in an underground bunker or in my basement in my PJs and telling people what to do, it would be wonderful. I would absolutely love that. Well, that's what he did. Let's go up to comments. Apparently I have some comments. Kaboom! Well, yes, indeed. Gosh, I'm getting through this a lot faster than I surmised. And then there's Jimmy the Leak. Now, if this isn't clear evidence that you can pack an astounding amount twice obliviate into a 6'8" frame by the name of Jimmy the Leak Comey. This is clear evidence. So let's just play this and listen, because as I said, Demorats are smarter than you are. They get it more than you do. They understand things better than you do. They're more educated. They're edumacated at the hands of their fellow leftists and commies. They'll be the first ones to tell you that. So let's have Jimmy the Leak edumacate us.
I've been thinking a lot this week about Donald Trump's tendency to radicalize me.
Stop. Now, this guy, as a retired director, because trust me, oh yeah, he took his retirement, and his retirement is close to $500,000. That's the kind of cash that you're paying guys like this that are up in the lofty 7th floor of the FBI building. So mostly people like that take their cash and run, and they go fish, or they surf, or they say something like they arrange shells on the beach saying 8647. But this guy, Trump, fucking lives in the bald pate of this dude. I'm sure that's a hairpiece. And wait, here, stop, look. I wish the people that are listening to the show could see this. This is the same guy that said Trump looks like a raccoon because of his orange makeup. You know, that's one of the things about Trump. Look at this fucker. There's his orange makeup. He's wearing a tie. I don't know where he is, nor do I really care. And he's a raccoon too. He's like, dude, Trump is in your head. He's living in your head. It's evidently rent-free. Your book tanked. You got paid. You're not going anywhere. Your significance is so yesterday, and yet he cannot stop. He cannot stop. This is like the ultimate narcissist. And when you're as narcissistic as this guy, that also means that you're pushing sociopathy.
He's so dangerous and does so many lawless, mean, and just stupid things.
Mean. He's mean tweets.
That thoughtful people have a tendency to react negatively to anything.
Because he's thoughtful. If you're a Demorat, you're thoughtful. Demorats are smarter than anybody else. Just ask them and they'll tell you. Like this guy right here. He's telling you in the clear, I'm so much more intelligent and intuitive than anybody else, because the observations that I make about Donald John Trump, OMB, Orange Man Bad, the guy with the dead orange cat on his head, are much more salient and incisive than anything else you could ever conjure.
That relates to him. And I guess I shouldn't say people, because I can't speak for you, but I do. His behavior has earned him in my life a presumption of badness. And that's okay to a point. He earned it after all.
Okay, let me stop and remind everybody that this is the same fuck nozzle who leaked classified material to, I believe, either the Washington Post, perhaps the New York Times, a major leftist newspaper, because of course it wouldn't be a right-leaning newspaper, would it? And nothing happened to him. And he goes on and on and on like that, like the true narcissist and self-involved narcissist that he really is. Let's also talk about this just for a moment, and let me put this up. DNI, the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, posted, let me see if I got a date on this, about 3 or 4 days ago. Declassified emails revealing how former DNI James Clapper told officials to bypass normal procedures and rush the Russian hoax report. And it's here for everyone to see. Approved for release by the DNI 12 August 2025 from James Clapper to a host of other people. classification, declassified, etc. It's essential that we, CIA, NSA, FBI, be on the same page, and we're all supportive of the report in the highest tradition of that's our story, and we're sticking to it. This evening, the CIA provided to the NIC the complete draft generated by the ad hoc fusion, essentially cell, committee. This is one project that has to be a team sport. Let's go to the second page, released. I know you agree this is something we all need to be 100% comfortable with before we present it to the president. We've one chance to get this right. It's critical that we do. The intent is to create an integrated product that is CIA, FBI, NSA, jointly authored, that we can all defend. So again, James Clapper told people to bypass normal procedures and rush that Russian hoax. And we know for factorious, it is a Russian hoax. Proven on so many levels, and still leftists today all across the fruited plain say, well, no, that's not true. Here's another great story. And I haven't hit happy stories yet. I also have a new segment coming up, folks. Just thought I'd tell you about that. Hey, look, Jimmy the Leak Comey, and look who's in chat, Sean Lewis. My computer decided he wanted to computer, so welcome here. Welcome, Whiskey Dale. And, oh, that's bad. Sean says, it took my computer 45 minutes to boot. Cosmic Bard here, Bard there, and I've got about 3 more minutes. I think I can make it through this. 3 more minutes. Tulsi has stripped, DNI, Tulsi Gabbard, has stripped the security clearances from 37 deep state officials tied to the Trump-Russia hoax. There's the full list. Now, these are deep staters, so there may not be anybody that you immediately recognize because their job is to be deep staters. So there are no huge names here. Most of the big, huge names have already had their security clearances de-resed by DNI, Tulsi Gabbard. That happened a while ago. That was a happy story. That was a great thing. But guaranteed, point in the wrong direction. These people right here are all deep staters, and it should please you and make your heart happy that these people had their security clearances yanked. Because what is the point if I were working, say, an intel unit for a law enforcement agency like NYPD or perhaps my department or anything else? When I retire, and I retired in 2016, if I was carrying any security clearances with me, I had to have a need to know for this information. When I retire, it's a 2-pronged test, but need to know is primary amongst them. If I don't have a need to know, then I shouldn't have any kind of a security clearance whatsoever at all. And yet these people, when they retire out of DC, out of the FBI or the CIA or the NSA or any of the other alphabet agencies, they take their security clearances, including Milley, with them because they're going to weaponize them against the citizens of the United States of America because they are inherently leftist, and they will use these security clearances to embiggen their wallets and make more money-ish. That is the only reason that they have them, so that they can be hired by corporations and lobbyists, etc., because I have access to important security information. Okay, guess what? 9 o'clock. Time for a break. You know what? I think maybe it's time for you to hit the electric winkle chamber. What do you think?
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
In a world where leftists are running out of metal for the safety pins of their soothing red diapers, one man stands alone, attempting to fundamentally change America, one leftist diaper at a time. BZ, your conservative Sherpa, is guiding you through the maelstrom of Democrat leftists and globalist lies, chaos, deceit, and betrayal. Listen to BZ Saloon on select and exclusive Tuesday and Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Central, and 11 p.m. Eastern on the SHR Media YouTube channel, Twitch, KLRN, Rumble, and X at BZ Saloon. It's one great late-night conservatarian talk radio show. Be there. Aloha.
Hello, friends. You have a moment so that we may discuss our Lord and Savior Minarchy? No, seriously, I'm just kidding. Hi, my name's Rick Robinson. I am the general manager of KLRNradio.com. We are probably the largest independent podcast network that you've never heard of. We have a little bit of everything, and by that, what I mean to tell you is we have news, pop culture, special events, conspiratainment, true crime, mental health shows, drama productions, and pretty much everything in between. So if you're looking for a new podcast home to grab a little bit of everything that you love all in one place, come check us out. You can find us on X under @KLRN You can find us on our Rumble and our YouTube channels under the same names. You can also find us at KLRNradio.com and pretty much every podcast catcher known to man. So again, feel free to come check us out anytime you like at KLRN Radio.
It's Sean from the Edge of Liberty. Just like the Bidens, I too am moving. Only in my case, it's days and times. That's right, you can now find the Edge of Liberty Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern, and Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on 11 Eastern on the SHR Media Network. Join me as we talk politics, news, alcohol, fun, not so much fun, clowns, small kittens, large kittens, dogs, amoebas, and anything else that just pops into my mind while I'm on the air. That is Monday and Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 on the East Coast, on YouTube, X, KLRN Radio, Facebook, Twitch, and anywhere else a good podcast is found. Please check out our website, shrmedia.com. I will see you live on the air.
Attention, all patriotic women of faith. Yep, I'm talking to you, sis. Are you looking for high-quality, super soft apparel that reflects your love for country and your devotion to God? Look no further than Carry Girl Gear. Picture this. You rocking a tee so soft it's like being hugged by a cloud, all while showing off your love for God and country. Sounds dreamy, right? Well, welcome to reality, babes, because that's what we're all about here at Carry Girl Gear. We specialize in super soft tees, tanks, and more, designed specifically for the strong, patriotic woman who proudly wants to carry their message of faith and freedom. When you shop with us, you're not just getting a t-shirt. You're joining a community of like-minded women who are proud to wear their beliefs straight on their tees. So whether you're sipping sweet tea on the porch or leading the charge for faith and freedom, do it in a Carry Girl tee. Because life's too short for stiff, boring tees. CarryGirl.com, where faith and freedom meets fashion.
Independence. With that declaration, America was born. Inspired by a belief in the God-given rights of every human being, and in the good that comes from exercising these rights well. The founders of our great nation chose independence. As do we. Hillsdale College accepts no government funding because independence makes possible the good to which we aspire.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And we're back. I am back. This is my wonderful t-shirt tonight. You know, it's a good reminder. It's a healthy reminder. It's an important safety tip that it's not waterboarding if you use diesel. You want to get around a few things? Hey, all you have to do is think out of the box. And speaking of thinking out of the box, I want to thank everybody for taking us to 600 subscribers. We are now at the 600 subscriber mark on the SHR Media YouTube network. This is a great, great place to be. It's like, okay, and the next, we always will have goals. We will have goals. The next goal is, I don't know, what do you think? Say 650, and this is a new point in the hour of the show.
Behold the ancient, obese, conservative Sherpa in his natural element, a wondrous cornucopia of vibrant foliage festooned upon his face, various tiaras adorning that scabby pate, creating a veritable carnival of conservative cogitations and, some might posit, an overload of bulbosity, unrestrained. Please, citizens, avail yourselves of his liquid offerings as the saloon continues, unabated, like bad Bolivian gas station sushi.
So if you got them, folks, drink them. And I'm glad you're here tonight. Let's continue with this because I am, I think, 2 stories away from a new segment that I've created just for tonight. And again, 600 subscriptions on the SHR Media Network. That's absolutely fabulous. That's okay. It's me. So maybe that means it's scabulous. But in any event, Kash Patel uncovered Obama Attorney General Sally Yates' email ordering the FBI agents to shut down the Clinton Foundation corruption investigation. Shut it down in all caps. So isn't that funny that Gavin Newsom is saying, well, you know, and now I'm talking to you in all caps because he's not tending to his state. And so the all caps in this. Now, let me point this out. This is from Gateway Pundit. And Gateway Pundit, occasionally you have to vet Gateway Pundit, not as much as you used to. I always like to make sure that I find another article or two that backs something that Gateway Pundit says, although not so much anymore because they're being quite verifiable. But I know this is accurate because the source of this article is John Solomon from Just the News. And if you're not following John Solomon from Just the News, you're doing yourself a disservice because he is one of a veritable, just a handful of journalists, true journalists left in the United States. So Hillary Clinton conducted official business on a non-governmental server so she could hide her Clinton Foundation pay-to-play scheme while she was head of the Department of State. And so Judicial Watch, and this is what John Solomon discovered, Judicial Watch obtained emails where Hillary Clinton gave preferential treatment to Clinton Foundation donors while she was Secretary of State. And now John Solomon is indicating the investigation kind of quietly subsuming and running in New York, Washington, D.C., and Little Rock was reportedly a fully predicated criminal case examining whether Hillary Clinton, as the Secretary of State, was running a pay-to-play influence racket, and she was. You'd have to be an absolute moron or a Democrat to believe that she wasn't. So, FBI agents had reason to believe foreign nationals and other deep-pocketed donors bought access and favors from the State Department in exchange for big donations. However, the document that was uncovered by FBI Director Kash Patel, in it, Deputy AG Sally Yates directly instructs the FBI to shut down the investigation of the Clinton Foundation, granting essentially the Clintons absolute immunity from further scrutiny during the 2016 election cycle. It's dirty, always was dirty, and always will be dirty from 2016 or occasionally from 2015. As I said, it was a soft coup against a presidential nominee, against a president-elect, and against a sitting president, and a continuing sitting president, not just under 45, but under 47 as well. The deep state is doing their very damn level best to make sure that everything is shut down. Mission Ready Man has to work tomorrow, so thank you for being here. God bless. Take care. And wait until the twos get introduced to the Matrix. Yeah. And of course, is anybody shocked by that? No, of course not. So again, thanks to Earl Jackson of Mission Ready Men for being here. Here's another story. Now, as I indicated from Just the News, here's what the story looked like under John Solomon, who used to work, I believe, for the Washington Examiner or the Washington Post. I'm not quite sure, but he set out on his own and created Just the News, where he has a number of people that are good journalists writing for him. And this is what he wrote under Just the News. You have to be so very careful about what it is that you consume in terms of being a wise consumer. As Sotomayor said, well, I'm a wise Latina. Well, you also have to be a wise consumer of news. If you're not, you're going to get taken, and you're going to get taken to the cleaners. But wait, there's more, right?
It's time for Fuck Around and Find Out, the segment where people in groups make amazing personal discoveries called consequences, courtesy of BZ's Saloon.
And here are some consequences. This doesn't have any sound, but I had to play it because it's so great. Let me set this thing up, if I might. Here are two Chinese battleships, warships, that are chasing a Philippine boat in the South China Sea. And the boat is the source of the location of the camera. Everything that isn't that camera are Chinese ships. Well, BZ, apparently they fucked around and found out, didn't they? Well, here it comes. Okay, the boat just missed. That's a Coast Guard cruiser, but out of the blue comes a Chinese destroyer, a warship, which cuts off those idiot fuckers. Oh, is my second. No. Why am I ascribing is my second day on the job, Ming, to communist Chinese? And as you can see, there are lovely little scars on that wonderful Chinese ship as the Philippine little boat. It's not a ship, it's a little boat, as you can see by the canvas top as it sails away. And that is how you fuck around and find out. So my question would be something very similar to, okay, which one of those captains was killed? Because my guess is that the Chinese were not real happy about that, right?
It's time for happy stories and good times.
Carolyn Levitt, you gotta love her.
If the point is to get everybody on the same page, why wouldn't Trump just take the call from Putin while the other leaders were in the room? He said it would be disrespectful to do that. But why is it disrespectful?
With all due respect, only a reporter from the New York Times would ask a question like that, Sean. The president met with all of these European leaders at the White House 48 hours after sitting down with President Putin on American soil. In fact, there was so much progress in the readout that was given to these European leaders immediately following his meeting with President Putin that every single one of them got on a plane 48 hours later and flew to the United States of America. And if I could just read for all of you some of the statements from those European leaders yesterday, you had President Zelensky himself saying it was a very good conversation. It was really good. We spoke about very sensitive points. The Secretary General, Mark Rutte, it was the president only.
Okay, let me point this out because she doesn't mention it in this. There were some people on the American media maggot side who said, well, why does Putin deserve a red carpet? And why did Donald Trump shake Putin's hand? Again, you can't write shit like that. You know, these people have no inkling. They're all kids. They're all children. They're all juveniles. They're all extremely puerile. They have no real world experience. NUNNAVIT. None of it.
Because of the president, that this deadlock was broken, but with President Putin by starting a dialogue. So these leaders who this war is in their backyard, are very grateful that the president took that call and that he was there to provide them with a readout of Russia's thinking on this, something that was not done by the previous administration at all. Catherine.
And that's how you get shit done. She doesn't take crap or crepe from anyone. You know, if you want to take crepe, go ahead and grab something from my arm and, you know, all the old, well, fuck it. I'm not even going to mention that stuff. You know where I'm going. You know where I've been. And so, let's go here. This is another happy story in which I go, oh yeah, this warms. If my heart had cockles, my cockles would be warmed by this. Whiskey Dale, the other Chinese boat got its nose smashed in big time. Yes, he did. And Sean said, yeah, she bodied his ass with that comment. And it's called diplomacy. When you lay a carpet down and you have goals that you want to find, when you have something that you'd like to negotiate from people, you don't treat them like fucksticks. Or they're generally inclined not to be so terribly conciliatory, comma, you fervently stupid American media maggot that you are. So very true. This is a happy story. Oh, I moved that they absolutely knew why. They're fully aware. They asked these questions to appease the woke subscribers in OMB. Yeah, maybe. Or you could have multiple sclerosis now. That's my new name for the ex-MSNBC. State Department revokes 6,000 student visas citing law breaking and overstays. These are what you, a normal person, would consider to be facts and evidence. When you have laws that are not being held by people who should be the first to hold these laws to their hearts, people who want something from the United States, they need to get their asses kicked out. It really is no more complicated than that. But this is such common sense. This should have been, well, I'm BZ, there you go. Common sense. And I just did that story. Let me go to this one. Now, I'm going to screw this up. And I wish that I'd had, if Canadian Trucker was in here, or if he happens to be watching the show later on in podcast, because I will put this up. By the way, Rumble, for whatever reason, Sakachon might be having trouble with his laptop, but my last show on Thursday night, Rumble, she no work. So Rumble is working tonight, and if you want to discover or look in depth at any of the articles or the videos that I've been playing on the show tonight, including this one for Canadian Trucker, go to the BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show on Rumble. Go to Rumble, type in the field BZ's Saloon or shit similar to that, and you will find all the show links for this show tonight. Give me a couple of hours, if you would, please, to post this stuff, okay? Because it's going to be late, and I will have been drinking. The piano has been drinking, not me. So go there if you want to find out all the show links. So this is kind of sort of for Canadian Trucker, because this guy, instead of Carney, should have been elected in. Carney is just a continuation in Canada of Trudeau, maybe even further left, maybe even more socialist. If that's possible, it could be. Now, watch. OP Ordy is in the chat room. Good to see you, senor. So I'm going to slaughter this name because I'm not French and I don't speak French and I'm not no frog. And the only thing that I know how to say is I can count to 3 in French. 1, 2, 3. And I can say, who cut the cheese in French? And that's not from the round. I'm talking about que coupe la fromage. Que coupe la fromage. So I'm going to slaughter this name. But I don't know. Maybe that's half a fact of having fun. At the behest of the Canadians, Pierre Poilievre wins Alberta by-election, regains seat in the House of Commons. And this is a happy story because, for example, if you remember what Idaho looks like, most don't and couldn't care less, but I'm way, way, way up in the panhandle of Idaho. I'm about 90, yes, only 90 miles away from the Canadian-Canuck border. However, what sits directly above me in Idaho is Alberta. Alberta happens to be the state that is an economic and an energy powerhouse for all of Canada. And the people on the far, far right eastern seaboard in Quebec fuck with Alberta to your own detriment. So that Pierre Poilievre, I'm going to guess that's the proper pronunciation, got and nicked this election is great. I will read. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre secured a seat in the House of Commons late Monday with a crushing by-election win in the rural Alberta riding of Battle River Crowfoot. He was leading with about 80% of votes as results came in throughout the night. Getting to know the people in this region has been the privilege of my life. So trust me when I tell you, again, you can read this story at your leisure. A conservative in Canada has won in Alberta, a province which in and of and by itself is one of the few conservative provinces in all of Canada. And as Sean says, always bird of beef. Those sea-sucking farmers would be very upset to see you put S&P on those, name the show. So this is a happy story. There's no doubt about that at all. And let me make this mention, if I might. Canada's going to go through some even greater upheavals. Oh, I knew this would happen. Whiskey Dale says, "Holy geez, eh? I did it for you, okay? Because Whiskey Dale, if you could talk, that's how you would say it, right? Like, holy geez, eh? I know that's true. Trust me when I tell you that this Pierre guy is going to be going places in Canada because Canucks, like us down below, are getting awfully fucking tired of leftists. That's a show for another day that I'm in the process of compilation right now. I may do Thursday night, and I will be here Thursday night. Whiskey Dale says, correct. So I didn't slaughter it, Whiskey Dale, did I? I said, holy geez, eh? So it was okay. I hope I passed. You're going to see this guy again. This guy is going to soon to be a big player in Canada. And you're going to have to trust me on this. This is another happy story from the tariffs that Trump has said, oh, the tariffs are going to rip the United Snakes of America apart, tail from mouth. No, not happening. China factories cut shifts and workers' pay as U.S. tariffs bite. This is a sea change that we have not witnessed in quite a number of years. No other president of which I am aware would have the balls to say, hey, or even consider. No one has said it. Oh, maybe a couple of people in the past. I think Bush may have mentioned this in passing, but that's all that he got in passing, a mention in terms of, maybe we ought to look at those tariffs. And that's all it got is blah, 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 mouth music. And Trump is doing something about it because the question goes back to, why have we been for decades sitting on our asses and letting all the other countries charge tariffs and a huge percentile and or completely refusing to take our products like China and our vehicles? No bueno. Of course, you realize that Chinese cars are moving quickly into the United States. So Mike Chai aims to cut wage costs at his kitchen cabinet factory by about 30% to remain competitive against other Chinese firms. Now, we buy everything from China. We buy everything from, and this is one of the biggest reasons. This is one of the biggest. I heard this the other day and I almost exploded. Now, customarily, I operate at about 210 over 180, but I went 210 over 190 when I heard somebody say in reference, oh, well, these tariffs they're gonna screw with my going to like Temu and getting cheap shit, because China makes a lot of cheap shit. But China also makes a lot of stuff that we should be manufacturing. Anything, I do not believe that we have learned a damn thing post Wuhan 19. Do we make our own medical devices now? Do we make our own medical PPE now? No and no. What about all of the information that we could glean? Well, I should say, was stolen from our medical manufacturers, GE, which makes MRI machines. That information was stolen from them probably, I think, if I'm not mistaken, about at least a decade or more, maybe 20 years ago. So all of the things that we should and must, including pills, medicine, antibiotics. We don't even make our own antibiotics in the United States. And post Wuhan 19, and do you see a big push to manufacture those things in the United States? There is an exception, but it's not medical related. I'll get to that in a moment. Also, another happy story. Now, you also knew, you intuited that this is correct in terms of, well, this is from the Hill. They lean left. They're not, oh, no, BZ. What is wrong with you? No, they're moderate to just slightly, no bullshit. Yeah, they're very left. Now, this falls under opinion from the Hill. Performative virtue signaling has become a threat to higher ed. Now, what does that mean? It means that between 2023 and 2025, some people conducted confidential interviews with undergrads at Northwestern University and the University of Michigan. They weren't looking at politics per se. They were studying development. The question was clinical, not political. What happens to identity formation when belief is replaced by adherence to orthodoxy? Multisyllabic buzzwords. What do I got? 2 minutes before the bottom of the hour break. So we asked, have you ever pretended, and this is the crux of the biscuit, have you ever pretended to hold more progressive views than you truly do endorse to succeed socially or academically? An astounding 88% of those students said yes. So this is a happy story, because what you're beginning to realize and what is becoming unearthed is that much of this leftist bullshit is backed with screeds and air. And that's about it. And force by the professors themselves. So just when you think that it's safe to go in the water, maybe we're finding out, is it safe to go back in the water? Is it becoming safer to say, your views, professor, are not my views? I think we're not far from crossing that border.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Listen in to the Reaver of Common Sense, where we cut through the noise of news and politics with a show equipped for bombast. Tune in Mondays and Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, and 6 p.m. Pacific, featuring a refreshing dose of reality. Jersey Joe fearlessly tackles the tough topics with no nonsense. Just pure common sense. Visit shrmedia.com. where you can hear the Reaver of common sense in action. He may not always be polite. He may not always be refined. But one thing's for sure. He always tells it like it is.
Are you looking for a way to boldly express your faith and love for your country? And check out Seven Armors, the premier apparel company for patriotic men of God, where faith meets freedom in style. Our t-shirts are more than just clothing, they're statements. Bold, stylish, and meaningful. From timeless messages to modern...
Stop right there. Look at that. Who bought a Seven Armors t-shirt? Why, it would be the fat guy. And the only reason I don't wear it is because, sadly, they don't have it in Omar the Tent Maker size. But for normal people, get your t-shirts at Seven Armors. I'm not normal.
designs, we've got something for every patriotic man of God. Wear your beliefs proudly with Seven Armors gear. Don't miss the chance to wear your faith and freedom on your sleeve. Visit 7armors.com today and join the movement. That's the number 7armors.com. 7armors.com. Faithful, vigilant, steadfast, passion.
Are you looking for bold, honest conversation about the issues shaping America? Well, let me welcome you to Unleashed 101 with Jeremy Hansen, where we take you beyond the headlines. We dive into politics and culture and struggles of everyday life. It's raw, real, and unfiltered. If you're ready for truth with a punch, pull up a chair and join us. That's right, Unleashed 101, where real talk feels like home. Find us at unleashed101.com, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and more. We look forward to seeing you. Unleashed 101 with Jeremy Hansen.
Freedom. One nation in all of human history was built on that bedrock. Ours. A republic of the people, by the people, and for the people. Self-government requires freedom, just as freedom requires an individual willingness to self-govern. Freedom has made America exceptional, but it can only last as long as you and I seek the good, as expressed by the laws of nature and nature's God. It can only last if you and I choose to act as people of character. Forging character has been the pursuit of Hillsdale College since 1844.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
It's the last half hour of the show. Thanks to everybody who is here tonight, who's in chat, who's been watching live and later on in podcast. And if I'm not mistaken, though I could be, KLRN may, with the luck of my little clotted heart, they will be jamming me in broadcast tomorrow night in the re-sizzle of this show. And the re-sizzle of my show on KLRN customarily gets me, more viewers, more eyeballs, right? Right?
Folks, this is BZ's final hour.
Yes.
Step up. Last call for alcohol.
Oh, my God, yes. And where were we? I believe we were here.
It's time for happy stories and good times.
Here's another happy story. Listen to this. This is from San Diego. Now, sadly, this is from Daily Mail. I will take information from Daily Mail, but to display a Daily Mail article here, it's nothing but a clutterfuck. That's my word, a clutterfuck of ads and crap and distractions. So I'm going to have to indicate the important and salient points here. And this is a happy story. Babysitter weeps as she's given enormous sentence for delivering disabled children to her pedophile boyfriend so that he could rape them. I worked child abuse for a number of years for the Sacramento Sheriff's Department as a detective. I got generally more time wrapping up a pedophile than I did when I was working in homicide and murder suspects. And that's because people will, at least this is a used to thing. Juries wanted to put pedophiles under the prison. Murderers, not so much. I got one of two I held for a time in California, the greatest amount of time for two cases that I had. One was for a little 14-year-old who'd been molested by one singular guy under her mother's banner until mother realized what was going on. And I set this guy up on a pretext call, and I fed this little 14-year-old 3x5 cards, ask him then this question, this question, this question. And of course, I recorded it. From all the counts attributed to the suspect, there were over 200 counts in this particular case. The guy got 815 years. That at one point was a record for the state of California. There's also another case that I had where a robber had about close to 100 to 200, I don't recall, counts against him in armed robberies. And I got 860 years against him. And again, for a while, that stood as a record. But when you slam someone in child abuse, generally, they stay slammed. Now, in this particular case, this hits a little close to home, so I'm going to have to read it carefully. A San Diego babysitter broke down in tears as she was sentenced to 100 years to life in prison for delivering little girls to her pedophile boyfriend to molest and rape. Yes. Brittany Mae Lyon, who was 31, advertised her babysitting services online with a particular interest in working with special needs children. So not only did her boyfriend rape children and molest them, they were special needs children. There is no place in hell that I can possibly envision where that motherfucker doesn't need to burn and twist in every little nook and cranny of hell when he gets there, because trust me, he will be getting there. The victims were aged between 3 and 7 years old. Let me tell you about this. I may have said this before. Pedophiles and those who molest children are age rangists. Until a child comes into the range of age that they're interested, and then the child exceeds the age range in which they're interested, they are no longer interested in the child up to that age or after that age. So whatever it is, and I have seen pedophiles literally attempt and occasionally succeed to have intercourse with infants. Which is why I think perhaps you understand a little bit of my umbrage. The victims were between 3 and 7 years old. That's his age range. And he used her as the tool to hook them. And some were autistic and nonverbal. This makes the story happy for me right there. To which, cover your little shell-like ears, fuck that fucking motherfucking cunt bitch for being the tool used by that pedophile piece of shit. But BZ, would you come out sometime and tell us what you really think? Here's another happy story. I'm glad that I'm moving away from that. And it's a good thing my face isn't close because I'm having allergies right now. Here's a happy story. GE Appliances shift more production to the U.S. as part of a $3 billion investment. Hashtag winning. GE Appliances plans to shift production of refrigerators, gas ranges, and water heaters. Stop. Gas ranges and water heaters. You are no longer being proscribed from a gas range or a gas water heater as you were under the Biden auto pen regime. You can buy whatever the hell you want now. So they're moving it out of China and Mexico as part of more than a $3 billion investment to expand U.S. operations in Kentucky, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, and South Carolina. The investment, which is the second largest in the Louisville-based, or as people who live there in Kentucky, Louisville-based company's history, is expected to add more than 1,000 jobs while ramping up domestic production and modernizing plants in the next 5 years. And folks, if that isn't a happy story, I don't know what is. Here's another happy story. And remember I mentioned earlier that some leftists, Demorats, the American media maggots say, why would you, it's like they're saying, why would you even want to have discussions or negotiations with bad people? Because, bad people, they're bad. Roll out the red carpet. No red carpet. Don't shake their hand. Make sure that they don't want to negotiate. But in terms of negotiations, by the way, Ordy got a split. Great show, BZ. Congrats on 600 subscribers to the SHR Media YouTube channel. And let me go back to this because this is what we got and what I am hammering home for the rest of the show and probably will on Thursday night as well. We are up to 600 subscribers. That is abso-damn-lutely a wonderful thing. But in terms of negotiation, Trump, the negotiator, who should be, some people may put him up for a Nobel Peace Prize, like Obama got his Nobel Peace Prize for doing nothing. Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. He sent blankets to Ukraine. That's peaceful, mostly peaceful, I assume. Trump's unique solution for Armenia and Azerbaijan likely prevented a full-scale war. But stop. It's American media maggots. No one has ever heard of Armenia and Azerbaijan, and no one really cares about that either, do they? Well, of course they don't, except the people that happen to live, perhaps, in Armenia and Azerbaijan. It's radically important stuff to them, as a matter of fact. Here's another happy story to add to the stage. Appeals court allows Trump administration to resume foreign aid cuts. So, a federal appeals court voted 2-1 last week on Wednesday to lift an order requiring the Trump administration to resume billions of dollars in foreign aid payments, meaning that because of the ruling of the court, they can cut foreign aid off like a tap, like this, like lefty loosey, foreign aid, a flood, righty tighty, you ain't getting shit. And that's a happy story. Let's move on to, I think I got a couple more, if I'm not mistaken. Here's the person that Big Pharma loves to hate. So, HHS Secretary RFK Jr. canceled $500 million in funding for mRNA vaccine development. That's a happy story.
Hi, it's Robert F. Kennedy Jr. here, your HHS secretary. At HHS, we have a division called the Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority, or BARDA. BARDA drives some of our most advanced scientific research. It funds developments of vaccines, drugs, diagnostics, and other tools to fight emerging diseases and national health threats. Over the past few weeks, BARDA reviewed 22 mRNA vaccine development investments and began canceling them. Let me explain why. Most of these shots are for flu or COVID, but as the pandemic showed us, mRNA vaccines don't perform well against viruses that infect the upper respiratory tract.
So this is a happy story. I don't really have time to go into all of this. But what it's turning out is that people, for whatever combination of reasons, are encountering turbo cancer like they never have before. And if you've perhaps noticed that more people are passing away from these cancers, mRNA is what it says. It changes the RNA within your body. This was shoved through. This was rushed through committee in less than a couple of months, when prior vaccines took 5 years, 10 years, 15 years to go all through the trials necessary for this. And now, as far as I'm concerned, oh, hell yes. That's a happy story of the nth degree. So, again, remember, Democrats, as I've said from the beginning of the show, are infinitely smarter than you are. Parenthesis, all you have to really do is ask them. But on the other hand, tell me what it is about this that makes sense. It's just a continuation of the stance by Demorats, leftists, anarchists, globalists, the American media maggots, because if Trump's for it, I'm against it. It's like I'm going to have to play for next Thursday. The Marx Brothers, whatever it is, I'm against it, and then you'll laugh and then you'll get the joke. But in the meantime,
Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced that his department will be cutting nearly $500 million in funding for mRNA vaccine development. NBC News is reporting, quote, many scientists and infectious disease experts swiftly denounced the move as a broadside attack on the area of research, particularly those who have seen this as promising after rapidly developing COVID vaccines.
Okay, stop. Now, what do we know about COVID vaccines? What do we know about Anthony Fauci? Number one, he was the highest paid individual in the United States government at over $400,000. That's almost twice what the president makes. Well, why was he making so much money? Because he's making money hand over fist for remdesivir, and he was also in league with China in weaponizing various viruses so that the experiments that were not allowed in the United States were therefore, by way of NIH, moved over to China, where the Chinese had no compunction whatsoever in disallowing these experiments to occur. And then miraculously, wonderfully, however the hell it happened, it was somebody bit a bat, or it was a wet market. No, the Chinese unleashed Wuhan 19 on the rest of the world. And all these people can do is, who's objecting? Who's objecting to this? The people that are making billions and billions and billions of dollars are objecting over it. By the way, were you folks, I just remembered this. Did you know what they were charging at one point for an injection, a single injection of remdesivir? Why, if you had guessed $5,000, you would have been right. But what did we discover about remdesivir? We discovered that it, let me place it in sort of an abject term, three words, it fucked you up. So people, oddly enough, stopped taking remdesivir. Well, that shouldn't be a shock. And then we're coming towards the Fauci's the highest paid retired federal employee. Yes, well, if he was the highest paid federal employee when he was working, he's also the highest paid federal employee when he's retired as well. That should not come to surprise anyone at all. And again, Thanks to Sean, Whiskey Dale, and all of the other people who were here, OP, Ordy Packard, Cosmic Bard, and Mike, and Earl, who had to jam. Thanks to all of you for being here. Yeah. We're seeing the United States of America turn into this. The Palestinification of Paterson, New Jersey. Coming soon to a town or a city near you. Not a theater. No, it's coming directly to you, where you get to hear 5 times a day, and it pisses you off. And that's another point to simply be used against you. Rare Foundation. Palestinification of Paterson, New Jersey, America's first city to be conquered from Islamizing government, schools, and streets to subverting U.S. election law. Well, if you're unaware, and sadly too many people are unaware, Dearborn has been Islamized, and I'm going to have to try to produce Hamtramck has also been Muslimized. Muslim mayors. If you would think that I'm not a big fan of Islam, well, by God, you'd be correct, because I fervently believe that there is no such thing as a moderate Muslim. There's only, as far as the radical Muslims are concerned, someone who isn't doing it right. So a shocking transformation is unfolding in Paterson, New Jersey, a city of 160,000 residents, which contains the second largest Muslim population per capita in the United States, after Houston, Texas. Stop. It's like, what? Houston, Texas? Holy jumping fucking Jesus. Well, I knew Texas was going away. They're having to fight mosques. And trust me, when these people, and I'm being kind here, get into control, it starts with the mosque and it expands, because demography is prophecy. And the people of Paterson in New Jersey, Whiskey Dale said they shut it down in Dallas. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But had they not, where do you suspect it would have gone? I'm going to have Earl Jackson on the show in the not too terribly distant future. Whiskey Dale says, by the way, Houston is in my backyard. Okay, so, sir, you would know. So maybe in chat, indicate, what is it that you're seeing in Houston? But I will continue with this in terms of Paterson. An estimated 20 to 22% of the city's population identifies as Muslim. That's many of them as Palestinian immigrants or descendants. As this demographic block has grown in size and culture, city officials have increasingly aligned policy not just with Islamic culture, but with Palestinian political goals, transforming Paterson from a once secular blue-collar city into a foreign ideological output. You let this go unchecked, and you will be listening to the mantra. It's like listening to Yoko Ono sing for 5 to 10 minutes at a time, 5 times a damn day. You like that? You like being told what to do? You like Sharia law? You just do nothing about it. Or hold basically Muslims. Oh, well, Muslims are okay. Not everybody is like that. Those who do not hold to the Islamists are every bit the infidel that you and I are. Here's another story, because as we know, the UK is disappearing. It's going away. The Labour government is using anti-terror tactics to silence dissenters. And this was, as it was said, right out of the Biden administration playbook. Censor everybody. Arrest people. The UK is arresting people by the dozens for speaking. Originally, the conservatives in Britain who started using psychological warfare tactics on the population during COVID, Starmer's government has just taken the idea one step further than they did. They have been weaponizing applied behavioral psychological tactics to frighten the public into mass compliance on lockdown, masks, and vaccines, and also on jihadis as well. You can't say anything about them. We're still arresting and tossing out the Chinese spies in Houston. Certainly. And that's what you get for having porous, open borders and people who are not interested in assimilating. Sackhead Sean can tell you all about, and probably has at one point on his show and likely will again, how the trucking industry has been subsumed by people who don't give a shit about safety or money except making money for them. And they'll take trucks, unsafe trucks, drive them into the ground, leave them, abandon them, make whatever money on them that they can, and start up a new company under another name with an LLC. And that's how that guy in Florida got there. But he got his CDL from California. Always spell it with a K. So that's wonderful. Another illegal invader. He's from Delhi. So he's not a Muslim, but he's still an illegal invader. I got time for one more story. People who are in Britain, you're going to have a revolution. You're going to have to kick your so-called leaders out. They are your oppressors. And the only options that you have left to you essentially are leave the country or revolt, have your own revolution. But that's going to be damn difficult because you don't have any guns or weapons or defense, do you? Or the other alternative is simply to continue to allow the Starmer government to continue crushing your necks and grinding you to dust and favoring all their good little muzzy friends.
I can hands down say that the United States of America is the best country I've ever visited in my life. And it's honestly where I can see myself living. I want to move there. I want to move there right now. Things that I saw, the foods that I tasted, the people that I met, best thing to ever happen to me. And I wish I grew up there because I can imagine that kids get a very good upbringing there.
Look how mental this is here in Texas at the minute in Austin, America. Look at all this here. Absolutely mental. You do not get this type of shit in England, honestly. Anywhere but England is better. Just look at this.
Honestly, Americans are so friendly towards us here. I feel like every time I leave the house with my dog, we get kind of, idle little chit chat with people. And as soon as they find out we're from the UK, they're so enthusiastic about it. They're so curious. They're really eager to kind of start building a friendship. And they're so welcoming in a way that I just don't think would be the other way around. When an American is in the UK, I don't think we take too much of an interest by and large. And it's such an incredible compliment. I feel so incredibly flattered by the way that we've been received. And it just makes you think about the way that we're perhaps not necessarily hostile to people in the UK, but we're certainly not welcoming in a lot of cases, I'd say.
So what this doesn't do, and I don't have time to go into this, they go further into, well, the other problem that we have is with our illegal invaders. He goes into that, but the people in the United States are not aware of what's going on in the UK. There will be more information about this on later shows. Well, folks, again, I want to reemphasize, I say, oh my God, thanks to each and every one of you. Thanks to you all for bringing us to 600 subscribers. We are absolutely, we're over the top giddy and grateful and happy that we have 600 subscribers. We will continue to endure and persevere and hope that we work for your ability to continue to follow us and enjoy our shows. And on behalf of myself and Sean Lewis and Earl Jackson and Jersey Joe and Cosmic Bard and KLRN and all of the people who have, including all of you who have supported us through the past years on SHR, on the SHR Media YouTube channel, it's been absolutely wonderful. We're not stopping. We are not going to be stopping. We're going to continue to try to provide you with the best information we can. So thanks for watching tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thanks for listening to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct right here on the SHR Media YouTube channel. And as Sean says, 600, baby. 600, baby. It is extremely appreciated by all of us here at SHR. It's a great thing. And I also say this, promotional consideration is by the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works, Shure, and Electro Voice microphones, and also by the people that make my mixer, Arrakis, and also by Pratt & Whitney Engines providing thrust. You can trust. And tiaras tonight. This one, look how colorful, look how wonderful. Covering my scabby pate. Tiaras are by My Little Pony. And also, thanks to my personal KC-135 Kettle 1 refueling team with whom I shall be consorting in less than 10 minutes, my undying thanks to every one of you for watching live, in chat, and in podcast. Everybody, I'll be here Thursday night. God bless. Take care. Be safe.
Everybody quiet down now and get some sleep.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Ben. Good night, everyone.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Good night, children. Good night, Daddy. Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.
What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing?
Good night,
Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, and good luck.